Imagine a world where the thirst for victory blurs the lines between right and wrong, where every decision could lead to exaltation or ruin. In the glamorous universe of Formula One, one man dared to redefine its limits. This is the edge-of-the-seat saga of Flavio Briatore, a man whose audacious choices catapulted him to global fame, only to spiral into a scandal so dark it shocked the world, leaving a legacy shrouded in infamy and countless unanswered questions. Are you ready to delve into a riveting tale where ambition, brilliance and controversy collide? How did a man with little interest in motorsports rise to redefine its very essence? And what hidden truths lay behind the high-octane glamour of Formula One, waiting to be unravelled? Subscribe now and embark on this exhilarating journey with us. Stay ahead and enlightened, leaving no room for the mundane. As we unravel the story of Flavio Briatore, keep racing ahead, ensuring you're always in the lead, both on and off the track. Discover the enigma, embrace the adrenaline rush, and unearth the secrets that rock the world of Formula One. The unrivaled adventure starts now. The finish line, nowhere in sight. Hold on to your gears as we thrust into the extraordinary world of Flavio Briatore, the man Formula One banned for life. The adventure into the unknown begins, and you don't want to be left in the dust. Stay tuned, stay ahead. Formula One is a highly demanding and dangerous sport, and if there's anything we've come to know, it's that it can be pretty unforgiving. To win here, you need to be excellent and prepared to give your all. Just as well, winning in Formula One requires a willingness to take things to the extremes at times. A few years ago, one man's antics went way over the line with Formula One officials, and for that, he got banned for life. This is the story of Flavio Briatore, a man who redefined rule-making in Formula One, for better or worse. Say what you will about Flavio Briatore, but he was a winner. Throughout his career, he steered his teams to 7 Formula One World Championships, making him one of his era's most successful team owners. He was also responsible in no small part for the rise of 2 of the sport's biggest ever stars, Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher. However, the man who became notorious for chasing whatever he wanted, regardless of the cost, soon got into trouble after trouble, leading to his ultimate dismissal from the sport. Born in 1950 in Verzuolo, Italy, Flavio was the son of 2 teachers. After leaving Catholic school, he worked as a ski instructor, eventually moving to a career in property and insurance. He also opened a restaurant, although that only lasted a short time, and the place was closed after a ton of debt piled up. Interestingly enough, Flavio's restaurant was named Tribula. The word, which had actually been his nickname, translated loosely to someone who would do anything to get what they want. That would become a theme for Flavio. Anyway, after his restaurant shut down, Flavio quickly found work as the assistant to Attilio Dutto, a mafia-linked businessman who owned a paint company in Italy. After Dutto was killed in a car bomb attack in 1979, Flavio moved to Milan and started working on the Italian stock exchange. Here, Flavio met Luciano Benetton, an encounter that set him on the path to Formula One. Benetton was founder of the Benetton clothing empire, and he hired Flavio to help manage his business. Together, they took the clothing brand from a relatively niche company to one of the largest in the United States. The success of the Benetton clothing empire was due significantly to their famously controversial ad campaigns. The company got into the national consciousness, and before they knew it, they had opened over 800 stores across the states. Pretty impressive. Still, it was his time in Benetton that Flavio had his first run-ins with the law. He was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison in 1984 for fraud, but fled to the British Virgin Islands because he didn't want to serve jail time. While in the Virgin Islands, Flavio remained in contact with Benetton and even helped set up several stores. But in 1986, the fugitive Flavio got sentenced to another 3 years in prison for his role in a separate fraudulent scheme. He evaded prison thanks to an amnesty ruling, and he was eventually allowed to walk. Thanks to his success with the business in the Virgin Islands, Flavio was hired again to run Benetton's franchise in the United States. He was able to pocket a cut of all sales, making him an extremely wealthy man. Eventually though, Flavio was looking for a new challenge, and once again, Benetton had the perfect foray. The fashion company had bought the Toleman Formula One team in 1986, and whilst they had some success, the team remained a midfield player. So Luciano Benetton decided he needed someone to take things to the next level, and he hired Flavio to be the team's commercial director of the new Benetton Formula One Limited. 2 years later, Flavio was promoted to managing director. And here's the thing, Flavio knew little to nothing about Formula One. In fact, he barely found the sport all that interesting. But he had that hunger for success and brought it into the sport. To begin with, Flavio conducted a full suite of Benetton's team. He brought experts like Tom Walkinshaw and Ross Brawn to the team and was also in charge of recruiting a young Michael Schumacher. By 94 and 95, the Benetton team won 2 back-to-back Drivers' World Championships. They won the Constructors' Championship in 1995 as well. After these successful wins, the Benetton team was dismantled. Schumacher moved to Ferrari, and several technical team staffers followed suit. Nevertheless, Flavio was making moves of his own. He had purchased the Ailing Ligier team back in 1994, with the purchase allowing him to own the team's supply of Renault engines. In 1996, he also purchased a share in the Minardi team. The goal was to sell the team to British American Tobacco, but the deal fell through and Flavio cashed out. By 1997, things had soured between Flavio and Benetton, and he was replaced after a string of terrible performances. However, he remained in F1. As the leader of the engine supplier Supertech, Flavio supplied Renault engines to teams like BAR and Williams in 1999 and Arrows in 2000. That same year, Renault bought the Benetton F1 team, returning Flavio to his original role as managing director and principal. The team had added British driver Jenson Button in 2001, but Flavio wasn't satisfied with his performances and replaced him in 2002 with a young Spaniard named Fernando Alonso. Ever heard about him? When Flavio replaced Button with Alonso, there was a significant outcry. Understandably, Button was an established driver and Alonso was a rookie. But Flavio remained resolute, saying, "Time will tell if I'm wrong." And boy, was he right. In 2005 and 6, Alonso won the Drivers' Championship, with Renault also winning the Constructors for both years. Now, while all of this was great, it's worth noting that Flavio had become a bit notorious in Formula One for being pretty flirtatious with the rules. It's not necessarily like he broke them all the time, but there had been allegations of cheating swirling around the man for years. Back in the 1994 season, the Benetton team under Flavio had been accused of cheating in a race, with Michael Schumacher ignoring black flags at the British Grand Prix. The ruling led to Schumacher receiving a 2-race ban, and that same year, he was disqualified from the Belgian Grand Prix for having 1.7 mil of extra wear and tear on the skid block during the post-race examinations. Cheating allegations are common in Formula One, so it wouldn't have tainted Flavio. But the man was also notorious for being bold and outlandish. And as we all know, the moment you get a reputation, that stuff follows you everywhere. Eventually, things all came to a head in 2007, and this is where we get into why Flavio was banned. You see, at this point, Renault was a top name in Formula One. They lost Alonso to McLaren, but the Spanish driver had scuffles with his teammate and was back with Flavio and Renault just in time for the 2008 season. Alonso's Renault teammate that year was Nelson Piquet Jr., the son of legendary world champion Nelson Piquet. Whilst he was a legacy child, it was pretty clear that Alonso was Renault's primary priority, and things came to a head with the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. 2008 was the first time that F1 came to Singapore. It was also the first ever Formula One race to be held at night. The street circuit track covered 61 laps and was lit with thousands of lights. This unfamiliar setting proved challenging for many drivers, including Alonso and Piquet. After a trying qualifying, Alonso started the race in 15th position, 1 place higher than his teammate. At one point during the warm-up lap, Piquet actually spun out, although he recovered quickly.
As the cars took their places, the excitement got a little too much for Piquet.
But things seemed fine after that. By lap 12, Alonso became the first driver to pull into the pits. He had begun the race with a light fuel load, hoping to gain advantage over everyone else. During the stop, Alonso also switched from the super soft tyres to soft compound tyres before joining the race at the back of the grid. His teammate, Piquet, suffered another error 2 laps later, slamming into the wall at the same position he had done so in the warm-up.
Looked to have paid off when Piquet crashed heavily and brought out the safety car.
Piquet's crash happened at turn 17. a point in the circuit where there was no crane nearby. A safety car was deployed and the entire lane was closed until everyone got behind it. Lead cars lost their advantage as they could only line up at the back of the field following their pit stop. Other drivers took 10-second penalties for pitting during the closure to save fuel. As a result, most lead cars had to line up at Alonso's back, with any still ahead of him having to pit as soon as the lane reopened. Alonso took his final pit stop at lap 42 and was able to re-enter the race in the lead, and he never looked back. Alonso won the race, earning a much-needed podium for Renault. Following the race, Flavio claimed that Alonso was able to win because of his excellent driving skills and a little bit of luck. But Piquet, who had a disappointing race and really a disappointing season, had more to say. Following a dismal start to 2009, Renault let Piquet go, but he wasn't just going to leave without saying anything. Within a month of departure, Piquet claimed that the team had ordered him to crash at the Singapore Grand Prix to give Alonso an advantage. Even worse, he pointed the finger straight at Flavio. The FIA opened an investigation into the race and charged Renault with conspiracy and race fixing. The team didn't contest the charges and was given a 2-year probation. Alonso was eventually cleared since the FIA didn't find any proof of wrongdoing on his part, but Flavio and Renault chief engineer Pat Simmons were forced to resign. Even worse, Flavio was banned from the sport for life in what is now known as the harshest sanction ever imposed on an individual in Formula 1 history. Flavio maintained his innocence and sued the FIA. In 2010, the French tribunal overturned his ban and awarded him €15,000 in compensation. But after the FIA appealed the decision, they settled with Flavio outside of court. As part of the terms, Flavio agreed to abstain from working in F1 until 2013. Interestingly, he didn't actually have any dealings with Formula 1 until 2022, when he returned as an ambassador in charge of entertainment. As for Alonso, he continued his successful career, driving for Ferrari, McLaren and now Aston Martin. Piquet, however, never had a seat in F1 again. He had a stint in Formula E, but currently races as a stock car driver in Brazil. As we navigate the final curves of Flavio Briatore's turbulent journey, the startling revelations, the heart-stopping suspense, and the unyielding pursuit of glory echo louder than ever before. But remember, in the high-stakes world of Formula 1, the race is never truly over. The enigmatic life of Briatore, marked by brilliance and infamy, has etched an indelible mark in the annals of motorsport history, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with both innovation and deceit. As we cross the finish line of this saga, we're left to ponder the enduring impact of his choices on the world of Formula 1 and beyond. The exploration doesn't end here. The engine roars continue to reverberate as new stories, legends and scandals emerge from the pit lanes, ready to seize the world's attention. Your seatbelt remains fastened, your pulse as exhilarated as ever. Thank you for embarking on this riveting adventure with us. Though this chapter closes, the thrilling exploration within the world of high-octane motorsports races on, unbridled and untamed. The checkered flag may wave, but the echoes of the engine, the allure of speed, and the intrigue of what lies beyond the track keep the adrenaline pumping. Continue to ride with us as we uncover more stories, unmask more mysteries, and celebrate the unyielding spirit of motorsports, ensuring you're never left in the pit lane. Stay with us for the next enthralling episode as we unravel another exhilarating tale that defies speed, time, and expectation. Do be sure that you can subscribe to our channel and let us know what you'd like us to cover next in the comments below. The race for the extraordinary never ends, and your exclusive pit pass to the world's most electrifying stories waits. Until next time, this has been F1 Racing Now, your inside track to all things F1.